Hello, good afternoon. It's the final word. Everton 0, Arsenal 1, a third straight home defeat for Everton. No goals scored again. It's 1 point from 15 at the start of this new season. So things are going well. Maybe these were the good times that people spoke about. Ped, obviously, very disappointing result. It isn't so much the result, I think, because Arsenal are way better than Everton. So it's not like it's a massive shock that we lost the game, but I'm just a bit disappointed in Everton's lack of anything yesterday. That's how I felt.
Listen, I think you're still allowed to be disappointed when you lose games, even if you're up against good sides. I think you've got it spot on there. The lack of effort and the lack of any plan to deal with a good side was massively noticeable yesterday. It was all about keeping a shape and keeping not allowing loads of space, but for no real outcome of that. Early in the year, obviously when we played them in February, we broke the ball down in midfield. We sprung the attack from there. You can't do that when you're midfield 10 yards off them, and you're trying to keep the shape for them not to play through and forcing them wide. All you're doing then that's like damage limitation. Whereas in February, there was a real plan to stop them from playing and benefiting from it. And I know we scored from a set piece in February, but we had loads of chances in that game. We made loads of chances and we deserved to win it. Everybody said that, even Arsenal fans were like, you deserve to win the game. You stopped us from playing. Whereas yesterday, I just felt like there was a real lack of anything. And all it was about was just trying to nullify Arsenal for as long as we could. I think that's really poor. To me, that's really scraping the barrel. That's and I think I've said this before, that's like what you see teams doing in the cup. Real damage limitation. That's not how a Premier League club is supposed to behave at home. Surely every game is supposed to be about going after the opposition, having a plan to stop them, their plan working, and then having a plan to benefit from it somehow. And I didn't see any of that yesterday, and that's what really worries me from that kind of thing, is because, as I said, you go back and to February and you can see that. And the manager can talk about the players and being disappointed in the players, but I really don't see a plan, and haven't seen a plan all season. And again, he talks about XG and these kind of things, but I just don't see what the plan is. I really don't. I don't see the green shoots that you would imagine you'd see from a manager who's been in the job since February of January. Well, yeah, but his first game was in February, wasn't it? It's that thing of going, I can see what he's trying to do. I honestly don't see what he's trying to do. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Tony Cascarino. You take any stock in what Tony Cascarino says, but he's written a piece about it yesterday. He just says Everton are a worse version of Burnley now.
Yeah.
He said they're a big club at home, well supported, with no plan, with no attempt to try and win a game of football. And it was a bit weird. I get that. They're a good side, and I get you don't give any space. I understand all of that. But there was no, like you said, there was no, in February, I don't know whether it was because everyone was like, we have to win games, whether that freed it a little bit, or whether there was just no pressure on that first game, so it was all right. But we did have a way of playing. We got in the faces, didn't allow them to play through us, but we did break with purpose, and we could have beat them 3-0 in February. It was comfortable. It was a comfortable home win against the top side who hadn't lost since September. Yesterday was comfortable for them. They won't have an easier 1-0 win, I don't think, than what that was yesterday. And they are a good side. And again, I had no problem with them going, well, we have to set up and be organised. No problem with that whatsoever. But there has to be an outlet where you try to score a goal, because it's about winning football games. We haven't won a game. If this was game number 5 and we'd won 3 and drawn 1, then you might go, these are the top side, and if we get a point, we'll go on again and we move on. But that's not the case. We won any game and scored a goal, and we've lost 6 of the last 7 at Goodison. It's terrible. You know, when it's not all on the manager. I've said it before. Players have to be brave. Players have to accept that. But the way the coaching staff have set them out, certainly in attacking sense, you do start to worry a little bit and think, where are we going with it? But, you know, he went with yesterday, there was some change, obviously. Nathan Patterson was dropped to the bench. Ashley Young moved to right back. Michalenko coming at left back. Beto starting up front of Goodison for the first time. You had Dan Juma, Dwight McNeil back for his first start of the season. So we had 3 players who arguably were more attacking than what we had in February, but we just didn't get anybody near Beto. And Arsenal kicked the game off. Basically had the ball for the first 5 minutes. And it's like, are we under pressure immediately from the kick-off, do you know what I mean? And they were on the front foot straight away, weren't they? As you might expect.
Yeah. I was surprised. Surprised with the Ashley Young thing, because he said he wanted balance. Well, just drop Ashley Young then. How hard can that be? If you want balance, you've got Patterson who can play right back. You've got James Garner who can play right back. Why do you need to put Ashley Young in the team then? I mean, I don't. You know, is it for the experience? I mean,
Patterson got an assist last time out.
I thought Patterson did quite well against Sheffield United. I can understand the manager wanting to be solid, and that's why he's brought Michalenko back in at left back. And you know, he said that was always the plan once he got fit. Well,
so was Ashley Young the right back plan then?
I just don't get it personally. I don't get it anyway. But you look at obviously Dwight McNeil on the right, Dan Juma on the left, and obviously Beto playing up front. You'd expect, again, I sound like a broken record. I expect a way of playing. I expect us to get the ball into them, and then, then running, coming in field, and then maybe the fullbacks maybe go past the outside. But there was none of that. There was just none of it. So you've got players basically just standing round, waiting for the ball, and about those balls that never came. And I find that stuff just dead odd. I can't fathom what the plan is. I just go there and I just sit there and I just think, what are we trying to do? Now, of course, Arsenal have a lot of the ball. You know that. And last year we doubled up on Saka and stopped him playing. And you have to do that on the other side as well because they break so well. But I just looked at this and just thought, what are we trying to do? Because there was no real agency to win the ball back and then spring and use Dan Juma and use Dwight McNeil. So you look and I'm just scratching my head. I'm scratching my head. I'm just standing there in silence, just thinking, what's the game plan? What are the objectives of this game? Is it just not to concede and then maybe snatch something on a
that was it.
On a set piece?
That was the objective.
Is that where we are now? Do we not have any ambition to beat anyone who's deemed a big side anymore? Even though we beat Arsenal, and under Frank Lampard the year before we beat Chelsea and we beat Manchester United at home. Are we
and we beat Arsenal under Benitez.
Are we completely out of ambition? Even though that's like as close to our best team, bar maybe a couple of players in and out, depending on your opinion. Because that's our best midfield. That's the centre forward we bought. That's Dan Juma on the left. That's Dwight McNeil back on the side. I just don't understand what he's trying to do. As I said, I apologise for sounding like a broken record, but you're not getting in the faces. You're dropping off. Okay, you're trying to force them wide because Ghana was playing more as a number 6, and actually, Onana was playing as number 6, and Ghana Gay was going out and pressing. And you are forcing them wide, but I think Arsenal like going wide. They've got very good talent out there. Saka loves having the ball. Martinelli loves having the ball. they work it so well. It's like you're forced into something that they don't mind doing. Very, very. I'm just like lost at the moment with the whole plan.
My issue is more on the offensive, to be honest. I sat there and I think it was flat Goodison, absolutely flat as a pancake. I think Arsenal would have been expecting a bit of blood and thunder. I think that's why they put David Raya in.
Yeah.
We all know he's tremendous at claiming thing. I think he's a better goalie than Ramsdale anyway, by some distance. And I think, but he's the one who will come and collect crosses.
Yeah.
So the crosses can't be floated. Otherwise he'll take them all day. But I struggle offensively. The defensive side, I get it. He will believe. Everyone will have a different policy, won't they? Of course they will. If Roberto Martinez was in charge of Everton, he'd be thinking we can beat these and be trying to play attacking football. And I get that some people might go, well, they'd pick us off. But we have beaten Arsenal in 5 of the last 6 games at Goodison before yesterday, and the other one was a 0-0 draw. And in 5 of the 6, I'd suggest every year they've been better than us. Every year.
Of course,
in all of them time, they've been better than us, and yet we've been able to beat them in every year. 5 of the 6. And the 0-0 draw, which was the one in between, was when both teams looked knackered, and they both changed managers that day. They got Arteta, ironically, and we got Ancelotti, and it was a boring game. It was like yesterday. I thought it was a terrible game of football. But so I don't mind them setting up to not concede. I get that, because it was like that in February. I kind of going in expected that. It's like, well, we'll be tight because you've got to try and be tight. But when we spring, that's where we'll come alive, and that's where Beto and what we'll try and do is get balls in for it, because we've got a centre forward in the box. And I just kept waiting for it to happen. And we retreated so much. And there was only really Garner Gay, and maybe McNeil, who was actually pressing them. Everybody else just sat in shape, you know. And when we got it, we don't have a clue what we're doing with it. We really don't. There's no idea. I wouldn't even mind if it was like, get it wide and our fullbacks will knock it down the line and get Beto running after it, or get Danjuma turning them, or we'll go long and get Decore running off Beto. I would have gone, well, all right, I get it. I kind of get that. There was none of it. When we get it in midfield, we just want to pass it back. And when it goes back, we just want to give it to Pickford. And then he in the ends up just kicking it. And there's none of it. I just look at it and I'm just like, and that yesterday for me, and maybe I am just worn down now. Maybe I am. I just got bored so easily. I was just sat there thinking, this is rubbish. I couldn't see any way. We'd done nothing that got you out your seat. And yet I've seen worse Everton teams put them under pressure. I've arguably seen worse Everton teams beat them. You know, we beat them under Benitez, and we had quite a few players out that night, and we beat them 3-1. Ritchie scored, and Damari Gray scored the winner, and we had injuries, and had no Dom, and things like that, and we beat them. I just look and think, now they're a better side now than they were then, but they were still a better team than us then as well. And I just look at us, and I just looking for something that they would have been worried about yesterday. There was nothing. No. And they weren't even at the best.
And it does set, no, but you're right though, it does set the, you know, seen a quote from Gary Neville just saying about the Goodison and the fans, and you know, he's right in what he's saying, because you go there and you're already worn down. We said it loads of times. It's like, this is the 3rd season. It just feels like it's all rolling into one. There's so much going on at this football club. You've got another you got a takeover, you know, in the works.
Best way of putting it.
Yeah. You've got fans who are turning up and they've got no belief. Fans just don't have any belief that we're going to win games. Any games. So you're there. You're there for not the wrong reasons. You go to the match because
you're on a wing and a prayer.
Yeah, you go to the match because you go to the match because you love going to the match. But you turn up and you don't see that fight. You don't see that tackle. You don't see that little bit of aggression that's going to set the crowd off. I mean, I was thinking about this yesterday. I was thinking about some of the trivia videos we've made over the years. I mean, my favourite one used to be, and this will make you laugh, when we used to have basically, would we benefit from getting Europe this year? And then it was like, we used to do videos on like improving the atmosphere at Goodison and all these like trivia things. But it's like, now you just think nothing would improve the atmosphere at Goodison. The place is dead.
Winning would improve the atmosphere.
No, but the place is dead though. The place is fans turn up and they expect to lose because they know the team's poor and they know the tactics are poor and they even now are starting to think there's no fight, because in the first 3 games we haven't really seen any fight. The manager can talk XG all he wants. It's a load of me arse. It's about putting the ball in the back of the net. We have shown the XG of not putting the ball in the back of the net must be massive, because we are consistent for the last 2 years of being terrible in front of goal. So it's fine, you can roll out how many chances you want, it doesn't make a difference. Fans look at it now and just go, I don't expect anything from this game. So the atmosphere follows, and what will follow from that is people will stop going. It will just start, it will happen, because people will give up. People will give up when they watch a football team that lacks heart and lacks desire, and that's what they will believe. Because in games like this, where you're looking, like you said, it should be part of the tactics to be pressing from the front for that person. You know, the first one goes and then the rest go. It's not, by the way, and this is not saying like everyone like should just run around like lunatics. This is literally what won us the game back in February, was that kind of mentality. One goes and then the other one goes and then the other one sit. That's what our midfield did, and it worked. And everybody said it on the day. Everybody, the media, everyone's going, the plan was brilliant. They got in Arsenal's faces. They didn't like it. They didn't have anywhere to go with it. Everyone worked their bollocks off. They doubled up on the fullbacks, and Everton created chances and got a goal and won the game, and they deserved it. And everyone said it, and that simply wasn't there yesterday. It's that desire to want to win the ball back and spring, because especially because it was his first game, he hadn't worked with them that long. It was like, this is how we're going to play. You win the ball back, bump, you spring. It's like, where's that gone? Where's that mentality gone of, we're at home, we take the game to them when the opportunity arises? The opportunity is never going to arise if you sit back and just say, we're going to try and soak this press, stop you from scoring. Where's it going to come from then? And I know people go, that's Arsenal, but that comes from what happened in the last game, and what happened in the last game before that, and what happened in the game before Bournemouth, and the game before that game, and 6 defeats in 7. It's scandalous, like absolutely scandalous. I have never ever enjoyed this as an Everton fan in my life. We always knew we had a decent home record. We always knew players would stand up for us. We always knew we'd have fight. This is a disgrace, and it goes on, and people just go, well, what do you expect? What do I expect? I expect players to go out there and a manager to send them out and understand that it's that fight that drives us as fans, and it's reciprocal, and we all, like, you've 10 minutes in and you're like, is boring. Like, there's nothing to get behind. And I know you'll have people going, well, it's up to the fans. Not up to the fans at all. When they're seeing it game after game after game, when it's £55 a ticket, when people aren't going to games, season ticket holders and their tickets are going on the resale, and it's £55. £55 to watch that shite. Like, proper shite.
You can't go to the well.
Exactly.
All the time.
Exactly.
You can't go. You need something.
We're destroyed as a fan base.
We haven't had a season off for 3 years. What I mean is, we haven't just had a season where it's all right.
Baz, we haven't had a week off.
No.
We don't get any time off between games. International breaks are a blessing, because all we have during the week is what's going on off the pitch at this football club. That's the problem, isn't it? We're dealing with it every single day, and because of social media, and because media in general is the story, like, and then it becomes, the story gets escalated, and you're jumping from one thing to another, and it's like, then people start casting doubt on, will the stadium ever get built, and all these kind of things, and it's like, well, it will, but you're allowing people to make stories up every single week. Sometimes they're fake, sometimes they're not, but it doesn't matter, it just builds into the noise. We are We are a terribly run football club, and now and whether people like it or not, it's seeped onto the pitch, and it's seeped into the fan base. Because you just go and you're like, you said it before on another show, you sit there and you just end up having a conversation with your mate or something about something that's happened in the week because you haven't seen them all week. Because the football is boring, absolutely boring. Sorry if I've upset you there, made you feel like.
Oh, it's just sad, isn't it? Because it's a game. It's supposed to be. We go there for that release. You get excited about going to watch your football team, and you get there and you see that. You know, you should always try and win your home game. Doesn't matter how good the opposition are. You should. And again, like I've said, I haven't got a massive issue with them trying to keep it tight.
No, it's not about that, is it?
When you spring. There was nothing. There was no get the ball into Beto early. There was no get round them. You know, make things happen. There was no shots, get a shot away, engage the crowd. Well, like I keep saying, the fans, you can't expect the fans to keep going back to the well all the time to create an atmosphere, to create an energy. The players have to do that. And yeah, Arsenal just moved it around, passed it, got into space, got it back. No, they're a good side, but they're well drilled and they know what they're doing. And everything is an image of what they've done in training. You can see the same as City. You know that from watching the City doc when Arteta was there. But everything City do is just off the training ground. Where I look at us and I go, well, what do we do? Great when the club put these training videos out and they're playing little rondos. Well, that we don't play like that in a game. So it's almost... You may as well just put the ones where Pickford just kicks it up in the air. Yeah. Because I don't know what we're doing. And that's on the players as well. It's not just the manager. That's on the players. The players have got no bravery. They're elite footballers. People can laugh at that sentence. But they're playing in the Premier League, which is allegedly elite level. So therefore, they're elite footballers. Where's the heart? Where's the desire to go and do it? I'll see worse teams give Arsenal a better game. Because they'll just take the fight to it. And they might... Listen.
It's bravery, isn't it?
We have just sat at Goodison for far too long. This goes back over into Frank Lampard, into Rafa Benitez. We've lost so many games. It goes back to Carlo's season really when we lost 8 home games, which whatever it was. It's just rolled on and rolled on, and it is that thing now. I've got a 12-year-old who was just laughing at the final whistle, just like, we are pathetic. Like,
it is a mentality thing, isn't it? It's a mentality thing that this is all right. That's the mentality. The mentality is this is all right. And when you listen to the manager afterwards, there's no indication. It's all self-preservation. There's no indication that that's not acceptable. That's what I mean. It's like there's no indication that the manager goes in. I listen to the press conferences. I listen to the interviews. And there's no indication that it's all self-preservation. Well, that's been here for years. People ask him, well, that was a problem before I got here. Yes, mate, you've been here since February. It's your job to change that. It is literally your job to change them. That will take a long time. You've been here since February. It's literally your job to change that mentality. There's plenty of players in that team that are your players. So why haven't they got a different mentality to the players that were here before that you took over? Or why haven't you changed the mentality then? Why are the standards so low that it's acceptable? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that he has to go in and bleeding kick a cat and have murder and throw people under the bus, but there's just excuses all the time. It's just, that was already here. It takes time. Everyone knows the issues. So basically what you're saying is the problems at the club have got nothing to do with you. You are a side thing then, are you, from everything else that goes on? Is it not your job as the manager of this football club to improve footballers and change a mentality in the club? That mentality is on the pitch. It is, lads, I'm going after these today. I'll be honest, like Burnley weren't a nice club to watch, but they never no one ever went and just like, they were notorious for giving everybody a tough game. Whereas I watch us and it's just like, people can just come and just roll us over, or you know, in the second half, because we haven't scored, you'll watch the mentality just get the opposition go, we can win this, lads. We can win this. Wolves and Fulham, we can win this, lads. Just keep doing what you're doing. These will fall apart. And the thing about it is, you will hear people say, toxic Goodison, or people booing. People don't have the energy to boo at Goodison Park.
No boos yesterday.
People just go and they're just like, oh, it happened
even
again.
The referee, they had a little go to ref, but no one could even be arsed booing the referee.
People just go and it's just like, it happened again, did it? It happened again. That's where we are. And I'm sorry, I do not buy this nonsense about the manager, like only just being, he's been here since February. It is literally his job and the job of his coaching team to change the mentality then. And if he's the only one, if he's the one who has to come out at every press conference and speak, stop being it, coming out and being this weird defensive character, and come out and actually speak properly about what is going on at this football club. Don't just put your tip in. Go full in and go, I am trying and it's not working. Right? Because this is it. I just find it unacceptable that anyone walks out of Goodison and just goes, oh well. But I see it, and that's what's criminal. There should be anger. There should be people getting upset about a team that doesn't have a shot on target, or has a P-roller, whatever it is. Their goalie didn't have a save to make. I'm not being funny. Arsenal weren't that good. No. They weren't that good. And yet it's become just acceptable because we're a laughingstock, because we're the butt of every joke, because people think we're going to get relegated, people think we're going to go out of business, administration. We are just a laughingstock, and it's the football club are just... They are, I mean, not only are they obviously responsible for this, but they allow it to go on as well. Like no one will stand up and go, man, we are fighting every day for this club. He doesn't send a team out that represents that fight either. And that's the worst thing. That is the worst thing. And when I say fight, what I mean is, like you were saying before, the bravery to go into a game and go, right, we're going to put ourselves... You go 1-0 down in a game against Arsenal and you just sit back and go, oh well. It's like, fucking hell. Like, this, without being like, you know, this is Everton, but we did always have standards at this football club. We did always have expectations. Now, yeah, I understand. It's a different era. I understand the oligarchs and the clubs led by countries have changed the dynamic of football. But shouldn't we still have those expectations to go the game and go, if we go 1-0 down, I expect to see players just running and bursting a gut and closing down and getting us on the other side.
Look at Newcastle, like when Eddie Howe went in there, like it didn't really work early on. But they got the takeover and they kicked on a different thing. Now, they brought a few players in, but they weren't amazing footballers. And they were bottom of the league, they'd won one game, and yet he got them running and harrying and winning tackles and winning games of football. And yet this isn't all about Sean Dyche, but when people make excuses for these players, they're not good enough, they're crap, to this, to that. Well, we've added 5 new players into the mix as well as what we had last year. So arguably, and a lot of people think we all said, oh, they brought some decent players in. Well, that should have made the team better, but the team isn't better. No. And it's not better because there's no real plan. But this has been going on. Maybe the manager's looking and going, well, who the bleeding hell's leading this club? Because I'm just there on my own. Yeah. Because it just feels like looking. Is he answerable to anybody? And that's not having a go at Sean Dyche. I'm just saying, who's driving him? And who's driving Colin Young as the interim CEO? Is there a board? Is there any jeopardy for all of them? Because it feels like, looking at it on the outside right now, it's rudderless. We're seeing takeover talk, and yet we're seeing 3 or 4 stories a day about there's been one today on talk about Simon Jordan and Jim White. Oh, it's terrible. Who these 770 people are saying they haven't got money. The story last night in the Mail. They're all, every day so far, Hertha Berlin were protesting against them yesterday. We're seeing lots of stories. Now, a lot of it is probably nonsense. But the fact is, they can have a go at that. So right now, we're getting no communication from Farhad Moshiri. We've had something the other day, him saying, we've agreed a sale. Well, until you like actually sell that club, are you trying to drive it forward for the last couple of months for it? Are you? Are the standards still in place? If Everton keep losing, you're going to question the manager the way you did with Frank Lampard, the way you did with Rafa Benitez, the way you were moaning about Carlo losing games, the way you did with Marco Silva, and. Or are you just going, I'm selling, so I'm not really asked what happens until that goes through, and then I've walked away. You can't have a club like that. The club has to remain accountable because the fans are still turning up. The fans are still supporting. There'll be 3,000 of them going to bleeding Brentford on Saturday night. So watch that, and then they'll get on the fucking coach again and go to Aston Villa in a bleeding Carabao Cup game, and then we'll all be back at Goodison again to watch the Luton and Butt. Us, we're there. I don't like seeing my 12-year-old walking out of a game and walking home and just like, we're terrible, aren't we? And it's like, you shouldn't be losing that thing already at 12. You shouldn't be. Yeah. Maybe we're walking a match and our lads are walking in front, and I'm like, I'm not even talking about trophies now for Everton. I just want to go to match and see Everton win 7 or 8 home games, like 2 or 3-0, so the lads can enjoy the match and goals and come home. That's how far my standards have dropped. I'm an Evertonian that when I was their age, we were fucking winning leagues. My standards are up here for this football club, and they've been dragged down to here. And I see people on social media talking as if we've got a miracle worker in charge of us, feeding the 5,000 with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. Or 5 fish and 2 loaves of bread, rather. That's a good one to get wrong as a Catholic. And all of this, and accepting, well, it's an expected defeat. We all lost our shit when Farhad Moshiri said that 5, 6, 7 years ago when Arsenal, an expected defeat. People's veins were coming out the neck. Now,
that's the difference.
A lot of people, or certainly loud ones on social media, are going, well,
that's the difference,
what do you expect?
People have bought into it. I get called negative every single day, and I quite frankly, I do not give a fuck. Because I'm a weird one, see, because you know that I don't expect anything.
No, I know.
But on the flip side, my standards are still fucking up here. And it's
self-preservation for you.
Well, no, but it's
like to like not.
But it's a weird. I get that.
Safety blanket job.
Well, it is sort of, but in the same time, I understand. I don't expect anything because the people who run this football club don't care. We've got a club full of losers, right? We've got a culture full of losers from top to bottom of our football club. It's full of losers. Every department. I've seen it firsthand. They're all fucking losers, right?
Not all of them. It's a bit harsh.
Right, the losers. Because everything is just the bare minimum. And this has been brought...
That's because it's been driven from the very top.
It's a culture. Minimum. You know, I'm not being personal with anyone. It's a culture that has been brought in over years and years and years of rather save a penny than make a pound. Simple as that. It's been.
But where's that come from?
It comes from the top.
Because
it comes from Bill Kenwright.
I'm saying there'll be people in. Well, there is people in the football club who want to do.
But the problem is, all the fucking losers follow him. Though this is the problem. Losers after losers. All the mates in the media, all his mates who sat with them in the director's box over the years. They're all losers. They have all helped create this scenario at our football club where standards are dumbed down because they can't do their jobs. It's that simple. So we now have a football club where we have loads of fans who apologise for it. Oh well, you can't expect us to compete with them. Why not? I'm watching other clubs who just get the basic things right of running a football club that give themselves the bare chance of at least trying, and now you have people telling me that this fella's a miracle worker. Get to fuck. He is not a miracle worker. He is a barely competent manager, right? Doesn't mean I want him sacked or anything, but he's fucking miracle worker. Are you messing with me? I have to sit there and watch this shite week in and week out, and you're telling me he's a miracle worker? Do me a favour. He's a barely competent manager who has got the shitty end of the stick. I agree with all that, but don't tell me he's a miracle worker, because he isn't. He isn't a miracle worker. He's a fella who has overseen one of the worst records I have ever had to endure as an Everton fan at Goodison Park. He's got one of the worst records of an Everton manager of all time. And you're telling me he's a miracle worker? Not a chance. Not a chance. So when people call me negative, number one, I couldn't give a monkeys, right? Number two, have a look at where you think, when you look at expectations and being negative, and just get behind the club, because that works, doesn't it? Just get behind the club works. How about lads who were sent onto the pitch to actively destroy the opposition with a game plan? Watch a team that comes out and destroys the opposition by getting in the faces, winning the ball back, all the basics that we all grew up with. Every football club has its own philosophy with what they grow up with.
No.
Ours is football, which is you get in the people's face, you win the ball back, and then you play your football. That's our philosophy. It was never playing it out from the back. It was never Martinez just stroking it round and building it up slow. It was getting in people's faces, winning the ball, getting it wide, and playing in their half.
It's like similar to Brentford, the way Brentford play. I think that was what Everton
It's destructive.
Was.
It's destructive to play on the attack. That's what ours was, or is.
I think the problem for us is that it has worn us down, and people's standards have eroded. And everyone's entitled to feel it. You're entitled to feel,
of course,
angry in the way you are.
Of course.
I feel slightly different, but also the same, if that makes sense. And there'll be versions of what you feel, different versions.
Everyone will have a different reason. Why do you think it happened?
And people will look and go, I'm all right with this, just the way we are, I accept it. That's fine, I'm not telling you, that's just what it is. But right now, we need to be better. You know, and that first half, we got to half time, it's 0-0. I'm thinking, all right, 0-0. They haven't really done anything. Pickford's not had a save to make. And you think, right, come out, can we just drag this in to a 0-0 where there's 20 minutes left and we get this? Very much like last season. They come out for the second half, they should have scored 3 times in the first 40, 50 seconds. Pickford made a great save from Odegaard. And it was like, that's the wake-up call. But wasn't, we just didn't get anywhere. No. We had a Dan Zuma shot, which he just dropped over the bar, and that was it. He took Beto off. I personally would have left it. I'd have probably threw Dom on with him.
Well, I was going to say, do you think there could have been like a 10-minute crossover there where we could have just gone? I know it's 0-0, so I understand that. Do you think he could have just gone, right, we're going to have like a little 10-minute crossover where, and this is already, by the way, this is what I'm saying by this, is not something you just do, like a premeditated thing where you make a change and you go, right, if I put Dom on, that means I want all the midfielders to just sit in. I want you to sit in. I want Dwight McNeil maybe tucking in a little bit and really getting a stranglehold because we're going to have 2 up front. Like things like that to change a game. Things that make the opposition go, oh, these are times.
Well, they made a couple of changes, didn't he? Jesus come on. Trossard had already come on in the first half. But at that point, it was 0-0. We weren't really, they were still on top. And Decore, for me, he just wasn't in the game. He'd had the one in the first half, which he done really well. But it's the only real thing he done. Flicked it over Rice's head and went down the box. And I know some people think it was a penalty. He was falling. I've watched it about 10 times. What?
The manager thought it was a penalty?
Yeah, I don't think it was. No, he was falling. He should have shot. It opened up and he should have shot. Beto had one in the first half where he faced Thingy up Salah, but he should have shot and he eventually ran out. But at that stage in the second half, when Dom was warming up, I think I'd have took the Decore off and gone, right, we're not older than midfield anyway. Let's have 10 minutes and see if we can get up the pitch. Have our 2 sitting, Garner and Onana, and then so we've almost got 6 and play with the front 4 and get it up, knock it long, get 1 flick, 1 running in behind, and let's see if we can push them back down the pitch a little bit. I get it's a little bit risky, but we were at home. And he didn't. He took Beto off and put Dom on, and we didn't really do anything. We were just still lumping it. They score not long after it. And the goal's so frustrating. You know, I know people are moaning 26 seconds for the corner and all that, but if you just look, we've got some of the slides from the goal here. And, you know, they got themselves a corner. And straight away, I've got Vieira circled on the edge of the box. Because he's just on his own. Yeah. We're all in there.
And by the way, this had already happened 3 times.
Oh, no, they've done this 3 or 4 times and worked shots, or certainly worked positions. So we see the 2 of them taking the short corner. We've got 2 men out, but he's on his own. We take it on 1. And Everton have come out and pressed there. Tarkowski's come right out to try and get close and garner. They force it wide to Odegaard. We play it on, it's a Zinchenko rather. Then he plays it on. Go on again, please, Ned. And I've got Trossard circled here. He's with Onana and Tarkowski. One of them has got to look after this. And I feel like it's Tarkowski's fault because he's right next to him. And I can see what Onana's trying to do. He's going to go to the ball. Tarky's right by him and can see the danger. Take it on again for us, Ned. But Tarky retreats. You see, you've got a situation where Onana's trying to read Saka's run. So he's left Trossard. Now, Decore and Tarkowski have got a decision. Tarkowski's closer to Trossard. Decore's decision is probably made worse by, I think it's Declan Rice who's to the right of him. And there's Trossard ahead of him. So which one? Am I covering the runner or am I tracking back? Take it on again. You can see Onana's gone to the ball. Tarkowski's retreated into the 6-yard box. And Trossard's got a free shot. Decore's too far away. Take it on again, Ned. And it's in the back of the net. And it's that moment where it's really well worked by them. Yeah. But it's that moment, again, that we've talked about a few times with just sense the danger and deal with the danger first and then have a go at who's who. If I'm Tarkowski and I can see you, but I retreat to a position where there's nobody, then I've got to make sure someone's picking you up. And he doesn't. He runs one way. And you've left Trossard and he stuck it in the corner of the net. And it's those moments that you have to get right when you're playing. But the biggest disappointment for me came after that. Yeah. Because we didn't respond.
Isn't that...
Years ago, we would have gone, right, pressure on these now because we've conceded. There was no response.
What I find quite funny about like a set piece like that is we're often, again, told managers like Sean Dyche work on set pieces, coming up with, clever ways, fine margins of games, coming up with the little moments. And yet I see young managers with a little bit of innovation. They're the ones changing the narrative on set pieces, doing different little things, just all the stuff, like delaying it for as long as possible, delaying it till literally the referee's about to tell them to hurry up or something.
All of their corners over 20
just
seconds.
Like all deliberately calculated. Someone has thought this through.
Concentration.
Someone has thought this through.
Well, Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
At City.
Someone has thought this through. Someone has gone. Someone has looked at how you score goals or set pieces, the fine margins, has worked through this, and they've done it 3 or 4 times, and in the end they've scored the goal from it. And that's where, to me, when people say about managers and finding young managers and finding people who are clever and this is what I'm talking about. That's what has made him such a good manager at Arsenal, is because he clearly imprints on them, and we saw this in the documentary. All that, he takes it all in like a sponge and uses all the help of of his coaches and the people around him. And they've benefited from it. Arsenal have, when he took over, you mentioned it before, he took over on the day when, it was Carlo coming into us and him going into Arsenal. Arsenal were in a great side at the moment, and he's managed to bring in all the young players, get rid of all the older players.
Spent a lot of money, but done it well.
We've spent a lot of money over the years. I know we haven't in this time period, but we've spent a lot of money. It's what you do with the money. It's what you want. It's what your identity you're building.
He knew, didn't he?
And what he's built is an identity of young, hungry players who want to play football in the right way and can impose themselves in games. Because football actually now is more in favour of them sides, isn't it? The way the rules are, VAR, protection. It is just about getting those edges, and Arsenal are a very good side, but that's where it comes from. It comes from looking at the details. And as I said previously, I don't think we have a manager who looks at the details, or as people who...
That does surprise me, though, because he did look at the details of Burnley.
Our set pieces...
I know.
I can't sit here and say, I know what he does. But what I'm saying is, I look at our set pieces, and I just watch a player float a ball into the box over and over and over again. And the
but you know what I mean?
The frustration that causes.
When he was at Burnley, it did seem like that. And I thought he would be a manager. He was like, and he might be doing this, but it's not translating. But I thought he would be a manager who's like, I have to use every... I've heard Graham Potter when at Brighton talking about this before he left for Chelsea, ironically. It was the summer before he left. But he was talking about it and he was like, we haven't got tons of money and tons of resources. So what we have to do is use every little detail we can and put them on top of each other to bridge a gap. Yeah. So we look at everything. We all laughed at Klopp when he got a throwing coach. And he's done loads over the years, Klopp, just looking for little extras, brought a striker coach in to do certain things. And he might not be a full-time coach, but he's in.
Free kick coach.
Free kick, he brought a bleeding surfing expert in to do something about mentality and all balance and all this stuff. It's all of those little things that you're looking, because we haven't got Chelsea's budget, we haven't got Arsenal's budget, we haven't got United, City, Liverpool, all of those things. So set pieces become key for us. And you're right, lately, it's just Ashley Young tossing balls into a goalkeeper. Yeah. It's almost like we've gone back to Martinez, where it was, well, we don't practice set pieces because they're not worth it. It's like, for a team like us, they are huge. I know we only got one corner yesterday and he put it in the goalie's hands. And it's like, was it one or two?
But at home and one corner.
Because we never got that far up the pitch, mate, to do anything. And so it is all of that things, and this is the details that this coaching setup has to start working on even more, because we aren't a team who flows with the ball. But I just would have thought the response to going behind, because I've seen it so many times from an Everton side, even poor Everton sides. I've seen a response. I know we didn't always equalise, but we certainly put a team under pressure, and yet we didn't put them under any pressure. And like I said, the game petered out. He did throw Chimiti on late on. He brought Nathan Patterson on late on to try and add something. But Arsenal, we never laid a glove on them. And I couldn't sit here and seeing some people going, unlucky not to get a point. I'm thinking, in what fucking world? In what world did we deserve a point? There was no...
Because it was 1-0.
I am positive, as you know. And I can make a case when I look at games and think... we probably deserve something there. But we've lost the 2 games that we've lost this season where we didn't deserve anything was yesterday and Villa. We didn't deserve a tap yesterday. We got beat 1-0. Pickford's made a great save late on. I think it was Odegaard again. Would have made it 2-0, and then Michalenko's threw a great block in. So that would have been 2-0. So we didn't deserve a thing yesterday, not one thing. And there wasn't, and I bet you that's the first time, probably since they beat us the last time. And even when they beat us the last time, I think they were under more pressure and they beat us 5-2. I think that's probably the first time in a number of years that Arsenal fans will have been stood there thinking, these have got nothing today. Even when we've been crap, we've put them under a bit of pressure. There was just nothing. And that's on the manager and it's on the players, and that's not good enough. Let's have a look at the stats from the game. There you go, 8 shots. I don't know where they come from, but 8 shots from us, 13 from Arsenal, 1 for Everton on target, 4 for them. No big chances for either side. 74% possession for the Gunners. They thoroughly deserved win, even though they were far from their best. I've seen them play tremendously well, and they've played much better at Goodison and lost. Haven't he? That's the irony. They played better at Goodison in the past.
They didn't get out of second gear yesterday. They really didn't. They
had elements of control all the way through, didn't he?
Yeah, they didn't. Because of what we were doing, because we were so defensive minded, it did make it tough for them. We did force them wide, and then we did try to double up on them, and it made it difficult for them. They didn't have.
It's difficult to score.
They didn't have loads of clear cut chances. No. I appreciate that, but at some point, as I said,
but Pickford has had to make 2 really good saves.
But as I've said, you've got to impose yourself on the game, and what you've got to do is, I think this is the most important thing. You've got to at the end of the game, the fans have got to have a sense of pride that you've tried everything, and the players then can walk around and have a sense of pride. You lose games of football. You lose games of football to good side. But if you walk out and you go, can't fault them today. cannot fault them today.
You can be upset.
Quality. We've been beaten by quality today, and I'm proud of my team. I'm proud of my team for that yesterday. They've literally just we
look at the park end.
Anyone could have done that.
2 minutes to go, doesn't it?
Anyone could have done that. Anyone could have just any team. That to me is like you're playing the FA Cup. You're a team in the lower divisions. You know a big team's coming, and you go,
glory defeat.
No chance here, lads. Well, it is a glory defeat. And how many glory defeats have we had over?
Cascarino said again, I don't put any stock
but
really,
he's absolutely right.
But he's right. He said it felt like it looks like a championship team that's come up, and they're just trying not to get battered by teams like when it's
Luton.
at home.
Like Luton.
Yeah, and that's what it looks like, and that's poor.
I give my man of the match to Jared Brandt.
Yeah,
so
right.
let's have a little look at his stats.
7 clearances, 2 block shots, 2 interceptions, 1 tackle, 86% passing accuracy. Thought he was very, very good, calm on the ball. Didn't really get done anywhere. A couple of great recovery tackles. Thought he was superb. I think he's been excellent since he got in the side.
Yeah.
It's a top. Thank God for that Villa performance.
He's a good player. He's a good player, and yeah.
Unless Everton can persuade him to sign a new deal, he'll be the next one out.
He will be. He will 100%, because people will watch performances like that and go, God, he's a good player. Thought some of his range of passing was good as well. A couple of times he did a couple of like ones where you were like,
but he's calm.
So good.
I thought, he was brilliant, and I think a few people will have sat up and took notice yesterday. Yeah. So we need to get him under another contract, but it's difficult, because how do you persuade a big prospect like that to sign a new deal when the club doesn't seem to be in the right place?
Yeah.
But money normally helps.
Well, he's playing, that's the main thing.
And he's playing, which is good. Another player I thought done all right until kind of like the last 20, then he looked tired.
I thought McPartland done well in the first half. I thought he dropped off massively in the second half.
I thought it was only that. I mean, Saka didn't really do anything, which is a good thing.
No, he didn't.
Saying that, he did pull the ball back for pull the ball back for the goal. But in general, knowing how good Saka can be, I thought Mykolenko done all right. Let's have a look at his stats as well from the game. 3 clearances, completed 50% of his long balls, 1 shot, 5 tackles, and 71% passing accuracy. He was up against, obviously, a very good player. He had a decent game against them for the Ukraine. He
did. I said that last week.
He done all right.
And these are the games that suit him, where he's got a one-on-one challenge, and he has to stay in it. And I thought at the end of the game it was a nice touch. Him and Shinchenko went down to the Gladys Street. There was the Ukraine kids with flags there, and they went over and seen him, which was a really nice touch.
He's a good player, isn't he?
He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. His passing's unbelievable. He knew what he was doing when he was signing.
And he's a bleeding lunatic, just going sitting in midfield when he's the fullback.
He's absolutely brilliant.
But, they're a good side. Thoroughly deserved 3 points for Arsenal. No complaints from me.
And if any Arsenal fans are watching, can I just tell you that it's not like living behind the Berlin Wall in Liverpool.
No, it's strange fan. He was on a strange opinion. He was on Arsenal.
It's actually quite sad living in Liverpool.
It's actually lots of lovely places.
It's actually quite a nice place to live. I mean, I'll be honest, I'd rather live here than London. I really, really would. House prices for a start.
Each to their own, but listen, Goodison, they'll come in and you'll go whatever, and there's wooden beams and all that, and the bullens that there is, but there you go. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. We're carrying on now on Toffee TV Premier. If you want to become a Premier member, the link is in the description. QR code will be on the screen now. Otherwise, see you later.